Hey everybody, today I'll be reviewing the Bytech Silverstar Drive 3.5-inch hard drive enclosure. Here you're looking at the enclosure itself. It comes with a power supply with a power cord, comes with a USB cable, and even comes with a little Phillips head screwdriver, so pretty much you don't even have to have any extra tools to set this thing up. It's very easy to set up. And I have a Western Digital 1TB hard disk drive I'm going to install into this thing. I will install it just to show you how simple it is to set this thing up. Before I open up the enclosure to install the drive, I'm going to let you take a look at the side here. You have your on-off switch, the power input, as well as the USB input. However, I do not really like the design of the USB input on this thing, which I'll explain later in the video. To install a hard drive into this enclosure, we'll just go ahead and remove 4 screws on this front piece here. After the screws are removed, you'll just go ahead and just pull this right out of place, and inside here is the circuit board where the hard drive is mounted. You can go ahead and pull this out. You can unplug this front piece for now if you want to, but I'm going to leave it plugged in. It's not really in the way. Just go ahead and slide this out. You'll set the casing to the side, which, by the way, this metal casing is aluminum. Now it's time to go ahead and get your hard drive out and mount it to this circuit board. Which, first, I'll go ahead and note, before you unpack your drive from its packaging, make sure that you have yourself grounded to something, because static electricity can destroy electronic components. So before you even open this enclosure up, make sure you're grounded to touch your computer case or something. Make sure there's no static built up in you. Now we'll go ahead and unpackage the drive and we'll install it to our enclosure. To install the drive to the circuit board is very simple. Just go ahead and place it down and slide it into the plugs on the board. Be very careful though. Once that is done, you can now flip the mechanism upside down. On the bottom here are 4 holes to mount screws. Now I'll go ahead and mount the screws into these holes to mount the hard drive to the circuit board. Now the hard drive has been mounted to the circuit board, it's time to go ahead and put everything back into the casing. So now you just simply line this up. Be very careful, you'll see there's notches here. Just slide the circuit board into those notches and it'll slide back into the enclosure casing. Very simple operation. Now we'll go ahead and take the 4 screws that came from the side. We'll go ahead and mount this side panel back into place. Installing a hard drive into the enclosure is now complete. Now we can go ahead and plug up to the computer system. First, I'm going to talk about the design of the USB cord and why I don't like it much. Most typical USB devices that are external from the system that have an extension cord will typically have the standard USB end on one side like this and have some kind of other cable on the other side. There's plenty of different designs of cables, but none of them should have 2 USB plugs on both sides. The reason why this is not a very good design is because, let's say you have a little kid or somebody who's just really bored or whatever. Mainly, let's just say a little kid. He walks into your office or whatever and he finds, oh, this USB cord. He can plug one side into one USB port and the other side into another USB port. Not only would it really fry the USB ports, but it could probably cause some serious damage to the computer's motherboard. In other words, you plug both sides into both sides like that, it could easily cause some damage. Because You're not supposed to be able to plug one side into another side. It may not cause damage, but still, it's not a good idea. Or let's say another example. Let's say you have one USB cord plugged into here and another cord plugged into here, into another computer. Then it would really cause some serious damage. So, it's not a good design to have the A-style USB plug on both sides of the cable. What I would recommend is plugging this into the device, like so. And then take some hot glue or something and just hot glue it into place so you wouldn't accidentally unplug it and then plug it into something else. Anyway, now we'll go ahead and hook it up to the computer. Now I'll go ahead and plug up the USB connection to the computer. Let's plug this into any available USB port. Now I'll go ahead and plug up the power supply to the drive enclosure and plug the power supply into a power source. Go ahead and flip the switch to turn it on. And of course, now Windows will detect the drive. Then we can go ahead and proceed to the next step. Now Windows has successfully installed the drive. There is still another step we have to do to finish the installation. This next step only applies if you have never used the drive before. It's fresh out of the packaging, brand new. You'll go to Start and then click on Control Panel. Click on Administrative Tools, which this stuff will vary a bit, but these steps here are the same throughout Windows XP, Windows Vista, and Windows 7. This is Windows 7. Anyway, now you will click on Computer Management. Then you'll click on Disk Management. You'll come up with a prompt that says Initialize Disk. This will usually come up, I believe it'll come up with all versions of Windows, I'm not sure. But anyway, you'll go ahead and click OK. Which, it says, note the GPT partition style is not recognized by all previous versions on Windows. It is recommended for disk larger than 2 terabytes, so if you're using this drive with, let's say, Windows Vista or Windows 7, you can go ahead and use the GPT version if you have a drive larger than 2 terabytes. Anyway, we're going to use master boot record style. Select OK. Then you'll scroll down to disk 5. It says unallocated. This drive needs to be formatted. We'll right click and say New Simple Volume. Click Next. Click Next. Assign the following drive letter, which K is OK. Format this drive with NTFS. Don't perform a quick format. Don't recommend it. Since this is a brand new drive, it needs to be hard formatted. Say Next. You'll finish. It will take a while, sometimes up to half an hour or more, to format these drives, especially when they're large drives such as like a 1 terabyte drive. The Vitech SilverCharge drive enclosure is a very handy device. It's great for anybody who wants to just make their own external hard disk drive. Very cheap at $14.99 on Newegg. It's very easy to set up. The only thing I don't like about it is, of course, the USB cable design. As you see, it's a very great product. I highly recommend it at such an affordable price. There's my video review of this product, and there you have it.